Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Burnfield talking to the stars of the strip and seeing some of the most popular and famous shows. And there's a man in town who comes to the Planet Hollywood and does the business every night and has people on their feet in awe of his hypnotism, his personality, his comedy. He's Marc Savard. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Well, I sat in the corner today hoping you wouldn't pick on me or didn't have to be part of the show, and thank you, I didn't. And I love watching other people showing off. It's not for me. As a guy who does this for a living, I couldn't do what your audience did tonight. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Well, I think that it's a good thing you didn't volunteer, because most radio hosts aren't mentally stable enough to be hypnotized. So that's usually, no, I'm kidding. It is such a unique art, and I'm surprised at how many people actually really want to volunteer. When I called for volunteers for tonight's show, I mean, it was flooded. We had to bring more chairs up. And maybe it's reality TV that's helping that, but there's something about people wanting their 15 minutes of fame, and there's never a shortage of volunteers.
I guess that's what it is as well. You're in this town for a reason, and there couldn't be a better place for you to do this show because people are in a good mood and they want to party. And then you sort of give them the confidence to do that through hypnosis. What is it and how do you do it?
It's just science. There's no, I don't have any special powers. I was not hit by lightning when I was a kid or anything like that. It is merely science. We're all naturally suggestible, and I take that suggestibility to a heightened level. I mean, that's why radio commercials work, television commercials work, billboards work, any type of adverts, really, that's why. You see a picture of a McDonald's Big Mac, and you weren't hungry, and all of a sudden you're turning off the exit and you're going to get a Big Mac. So we're naturally suggestible. So that's what I'm doing, is really taking advantage of that. I'm also allowing them to be their truest personality without consequence. We would all sing, we would all dance, we do it in front of our mirrors in the bathroom at home while we're brushing our teeth and getting ready, but there's something that holds us back from doing that in front of 400 people. What hypnosis does is it takes away that inhibition and allows someone to be their truest personality without consequence.
What I loved about your show tonight, more than others in this town, is your warmth on stage and the fact that you attracted 70-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 30-year-olds and 18-year-olds. It's amazing how you held it all together, and at no point did it feel creepy. It can go into dodgy areas, hypnotism, and I think that's one of the reasons it's controversial. You push it and it's an adult show, but you don't cross that line, do you?
Well, I think there's always an element of what I'm doing on stage that is ridiculous. And if there's one element that's ridiculous, then everything's funny. And I think that's the difference. And I also like to approach the show as being kind of hanging out in my basement or something, like it was a party where we're all just having fun, and that it's not stuffy, it's not pretentious, it's just very, hey, you guys want to get crazy tonight? And it's an opportunity for us to get crazy, and it just has that feel. And I think even bringing it to Las Vegas, I didn't want to change that. I wanted it to feel like we're all just a bunch of friends at a house party getting crazy.
And what it is you say, if you want to be part of the show, come up and join me, and then you have to decide whether or not they can be in the show, because some people can do it and some people can't. Some people go under and some people don't. That's right, isn't it?
Well, it's essentially that is. However, everyone can be hypnotized. It just has to be the right situation, and the social environment can change your hypnotizability, or suggestibility is the better term for it. For example, let's say your Uncle Frank is an attorney, he's a lawyer, he's trying to make partner in the firm, and you're doing a show for their holiday party or something like that. Well, he's afraid of what he's going to say, what he's going to do. He might offend the partners, and now all of a sudden his job's on the line. So he's not necessarily hypnotizable that night, but the following night you perform at his family reunion, and now he's crazy Uncle Frank with a lampshade on his head, and all of his reservations are kind of, his guards are let down. So he's much more hypnotizable. Same person, two different scenarios, his hypnotizability or suggestibility has changed. So everyone can be hypnotized, but I just want the 8 or 10 or 12 best of the group. I have to narrow it down, because I had over almost 40 volunteers tonight. I can't have 40 people dancing around crazy on stage. It's just too many, and the stage is not big enough, so I have to narrow it down.
Although you did well tonight. I've seen these shows done before, and you had more than most do. Tonight was lucky, was it? Is that the right word?
No, that's pretty normal. I usually keep 10 or 12 participants. They were just so great tonight. I should have cut off two because the sight lines and the sides of the stage, you couldn't see the two people on the ends. However, they were all so great. So who do you cut? I mean, they were all fantastic. So I just kind of jammed them all in there and we plowed through the show. But that's pretty normal. It's pretty normal. So, anywhere between 8 to a dozen participants I'll keep. And, it gets absolutely crazy. There's always somebody whose personality really comes out and does something that is just, absolutely hilarious to the audience.
What you don't need is dull people. Tonight you had characters of all different ages, of all different creeds, of all different class. And then it's your job to bring out of them the funny. And you do, I'm not going to give away it because you can buy your DVDs. If you go online, you can find them there. I interviewed Paul McKenna many years ago, and I know there's been controversy about could you get somebody to murder someone? And he said there's absolutely no way you could get anybody to do anything they wouldn't do whilst conscious, whilst in the current world, not under hypnosis, in other words. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe that we have something called a subconscious watchdog. And it just lies there sleeping while we make them do some silly things in hypnosis. But the moment we challenge their morals or their belief system, the watchdog and the subconscious perks its ears up and will engage or emerge someone from hypnosis. A lot like a nightmare. Your mind and body can handle a lot of things in the dreams, but the moment that it gets to be too much for your mind and body to handle, what happens? You wake up. Same type of thing with hypnosis. However, people say, well, I would never sing and dance in front of 300 people. Well, you would sing and dance. What hypnosis does is it takes away the audience. So that's where people think that they're doing something that they wouldn't normally do. But these are all behaviors that we all naturally do. We all want to be singers. We all want to be dancers. We all want to be performers. And this is what allows that to come out.
The positive side of your work is that you can really aid people's confidence, their ability to give up something or do something that they can't do. That's the clever stuff. And I know you have a range of CDs and DVDs that help people. Does that fulfill some sort of social need in you, that you're helping people that way? You're entertaining people with this show, but you're actually doing proper good work.
I think that's a big part of why I got into hypnosis. I was trying to get into med school when I was in college. I was going to be a doctor. And then I found hypnosis by accident. And I was so curious and intrigued by it. And I started doing reading and research. And next thing you know, hypnotizing my friends in college. And that's where I found that I could do both. I could entertain and help people. So I called my parents and said, I'm not going to be a doctor anymore. I'm going to be a sideshow variety entertainer. So they were not impressed. But now it's all worked out. So.
What's it like being here in Las Vegas? Let's face it, if you're good at what you do in entertainment, this is going to be a natural home, especially for a show like yours. You're in this theater that has 400 shows a day, it seems. I mean, they've beautifully worked out how to get as many shows into this space as they possibly can. And you're the last one of the day that sort of rounds it off. They could have anybody in the world, and they chose you. Why? Do you think about that?
I'm very good at what I do. No, I don't. I think that it's really all about not so much the show, but the draw, getting the butts in the seats. This is entertainment business. And there's a lot of great shows that aren't performing in Las Vegas. And there are some mediocre shows that maybe shouldn't be performing in Vegas, but they do well commercially. They sell tickets, they move. And I think I've built an enterprise, a business, and I'm good at marketing, and I'm very involved with the marketing of the show, the promotion of the show, the PR relations with the show. I like that. I love the business. I'm very, very much an analytical mind. I am so much more business than I am entertainer. I think to best describe it, I'm a businessman that happens to also do the show. So I'm a show producer. And I think that that's what's allowed me to be here. I'll be coming up to 2,000 shows in about 2.5 months from now. So that's a lot. And 6 nights a week, banging them out. And to be able to have that sustainability, I think that's the true success of the business of it. Yes, the show's great, proud of the show, but I'm much more proud of the business to keep it going.
And again, just because you build it, they won't necessarily come. There's a million examples of that. You've got to be out there dragging them in and filling the seats, because you will be gone if you fail in this town. It is brutal, isn't it?
I believe the last statistics of percentage, or that came out, was the percentage was almost, I think it was just under 90% of the shows that open will close within 6 months.
Wow.
And now this has been 7.5 years for me. So Very, very proud. I mean, we can't compare this, but Elvis only did 800 shows, but that's not a comparison. I mean, I'm not out, but you get the idea. Like 2,000 shows in Vegas is a huge thing, and we're very, very proud of it.
So my next question has to be, how do you keep it fresh? How do you stop yourself getting bored? And how do you stop yourself wanting to chuck yourself off the side of the stage?
I think because of what I do, because it's a hypnosis show, I feel sorry for, Celine Dion across the street. I love her to death. She's such a sweetheart. But she's got to belt out the same tunes every single night. At least, even if my show's the same every night, everyone that's hypnotized responds to the suggestions differently. So you see me on stage laughing. I'm entertained just as much as the audience, and I'm having fun. So it's a joy to come to the show every single night.
I always feel sorry for the giraffe in The Lion King, because he has to hit that mark 8 times a week, every single day of his career. I mean, it must be soul destroying. There's no ad-libbing whatsoever. Of course, in this show, you're quite right. You don't know what they're going to say. And the best moments are always when you're sort of caught out and have you got a line to come back with. So then I say, you're the businessman, you're the entrepreneur, you're the hypnotist, you're also the ad-libber and the comedian. Where does that come in the line of what you do?
I think that performing 6 nights a week, it's a skill that you kind of improve over time, and that's the thing I enjoy the most. I love the improvisational skills that come in the show based on what they're saying. What's their job? What do they do? What's the joke? What are they saying? How am I going to turn that into comedy? And I think that in a hypnosis show, it's fairly easy to hypnotize. That's the easy part. Orchestrating a show, directing comedy live in theater is much more difficult. And I enjoy the satisfaction of what I get from turning nothing into something. And just think, like a comedian, he'll walk on stage and people say, stand-up comedy is the hardest entertainment to do. I disagree. A comedian will walk on stage with a set script, and they are ready, and as long as they know their script, they come in and they make jokes. I walk on stage, or any hypnotist for that matter, walks on stage with 20 empty chairs, and we have no idea what we're going to get, who we're going to get, if we're going to get, and then once we get those people hypnotized, then we have to build a show. There's nothing preset. So I believe that hypnotism is one of the most challenging arts out there, but that's what makes it the most rewarding, I think.
Is there a backup if they don't come on stage and they don't want to be part of it?
It hasn't happened. In 20 years, I have never been in a situation where I did not have enough volunteers to participate and be hypnotized.
And then tonight you get a guy on stage who you make fun of and fun with. He loved it, but there were points where I thought this guy could turn and punch you at any moment. Can you snap them out of it if you just happen to go too far? Because this ain't a science, is it? I mean, perhaps getting them into the hypnotism is a science, but if you make the wrong comment at the wrong time, they could turn nasty.
I would agree with you 100%. However, think of the mindset of what people are coming in here for. They're coming in to laugh, they're coming in to be entertained, they're coming in to be silly, and there's a level of protection that protects that, in a sense. It's when you participate on stage, it almost like you kind of say, all right, I'm giving into the silliness of what's going to happen, and it doesn't happen. I'll say there's no physical contact to kind of protect everybody up there, but for the most part, it's not even necessary. There's a genuine good in people, and I get to see it because I'm bringing out the natural personality of everyone having a good time in Vegas.
What a liberty and license you have to go on stage every night and just play with people, because that's what we all try and do in life, isn't it? With our friends, you just want to make them laugh, you want to play, and you get to do that. For you, is this the dream? I wonder, because, I mean, you're so smart at what you do, and the business side of you is so fascinating. When I see the DVDs out there, is this the best part of your life, those 90 minutes on stage, or is it the stuff that you do behind the scenes? What do you enjoy the most?
It is all of it together. I mean, it all works together. I mean, what you do during the day, you see and reap the rewards at night, and vice versa. People come to the show, they get inspired, they want to learn about their mind. They contact us, hey, what do you guys have for personal development programs? I saw your show, I'm fascinated. Or the other way around, I want to get better at what I do, and they come and see the show. And so it's this circle that continues to rotate. So they all work well. It's like a finely tuned, gears that all have to, I guess the right word is synchronicity. There's a synchronicity that makes everything work together.
And again, you're smart. You give tickets away in the show to those who are on stage, obviously being part of it, aren't seeing it, and they're going to tell their friends. It's a whole business plan, isn't it? It's a whole way of spreading the word of the show, because as long as people are coming, you're in business. And I guess that's the key to being here in Las Vegas as long as you have been, and staying here for much longer.
I think that if you treat the customer with respect and treat human beings with respect, and I come on a stage and whatever I've had for a day, a bad day, a good day, if I'm sick, whatever, it doesn't matter, because the person sitting in the seat in the audience has worked all year long and raised their money to come in on vacation, and they're really jazzed and stoked and pumped up to see the show. They want to see me at my 100% best, and that's what they deserve. And if I give that, they can feel it, and they appreciate it, they tell their friends about it, and that's what it takes. And when they say the show must go on, the show must go on.
Congratulations on your performance tonight. To see somebody so confident on stage, and it's that feeling of trust. We knew that nothing could go wrong because you'd got a line for everything and you looked absolutely confident up there. That really is the greatest compliment you can pay any performer, isn't it, really, when you look so at home?
Thank you. That does mean a lot. And hypnosis relies on that. There's a rapport that has to be built. And I have to establish a rapport in the first 5 or 6 minutes before I ask the people, come and surrender your mind to me. And in order for me to, when I have that many volunteers come up on stage, that's when I know that the rapport building has been successful. So I appreciate that you not only recognize, see it, but realize that it is such a big part of what I do.
People want to find out more. Have you got a website?
MarcSavard.com, Marc with a C, MarcSavard.com.
Marc, a great pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for having me on the show, and I'll come and see you again. You're here at Planet Hollywood, 10 o'clock every night, and you do it 6 nights a week, and you still have the energy of a new performer. That's the key, isn't it? Because if you get bored, they'll get bored.
There's no doubt about it.
Thanks very much for talking to me.
Thanks a lot, Alex.